Y'all don't understand. Bro, y'all don't understand. I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating here, but I promise you I'm not. Xenoblade Chronicles is one of the best video games I've ever played. Simply because of everything, how well it does what it's attempting to do. And I feel like that's something that, you know, should be obvious for any game, but I feel like so few games really freaking strike that needle right on its head nowadays, to where, yeah, it's easy to enjoy most games you play. Probably if you buy a game, most people who enjoy the games they buy because, you know, they either look into it or just because the quality of games nowadays, especially, you know, I'm not necessarily trying to put down indie games or anything like that, but a lot of AAA games are more than likely higher quality titles. So it's like you're gonna more frequently see good games than bad games consistently put out. You know, fundamentally bad games, like, why is this even released kind of thing. It's one thing, you know, to like, bro, this game sucks, but it's not really a bad game. It's easy to say that kind of thing. But what I mean is the way that the game weaves itself together, everything from narrative to the gameplay to the character interactions, you know, the everything, the culmination of everything. It just goes to show you, it's one of those games that really reminds someone that video games are the number one and the perfected version of all medias. You know, when you really look at it, think of it like this: video games is the culmination of all different types of forms of media. You know, we have books that give us straight narratives. We have music that lets us feel some type of way without even really giving us a narrative to really focus on. You know, we have plays and everything like that. We have movies and all these things that, you know, work so well individually. But then when you have a movie fused together with, you know, the narrative quality that you can only get in a book compared to a movie, especially if you look at, say, I don't know, let's say Harry Potter, for example. It's like, if you go and read the book for Harry Potter, some people vastly prefer the books because there's a lot that can't be put into movies because they have, you know, time limitations. So it's like, you have, you know, the great acting and everything of a movie, yet the narrative quality and content of a book, yet you still also have the wonderful music that you probably couldn't get anywhere else, like other than an orchestra, you know. And then you have everything all move together, and then you have the character interactions and fun times as if you're actually hanging out with actual friends or listening to a radio show. And you have all those kinds of different forms of media fused into one called a video game. And that is everything. And the one more thing it adds is you. And I feel Xenoblade Chronicles is one of those games that really reminds you how lucky we are to have been born in a time that video games are a thing. It lets you, it reminds you of why we're so happy to have video games. And Xenoblade reminded me of that in the most perfect of times in my life. And job sucked, work was just horrible, I wasn't happy with what I was doing on YouTube and everything, you know, friendships and relationships were tested and everything. At that time, it was a really rough time, but Xenoblade came in at the perfect time and honestly made me be able to appreciate and love people the way I always should have. And I can't wait for Xenoblade to do this to more people. That is probably the biggest reason I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to visit the Bionic Shoulder. We never got to experience this. It's an epilogue now to where this takes place afterwards, so I can get that closure to how the game ended. I'm not going to spoil anything or anything, but that's all well and good. But Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is now on modern platforms. It is now on the Nintendo Switch. So now, the Switch having outsold the Wii U, which if you don't own a Wii or can't get a physical copy of it, the only way you're going to experience Xenoblade Chronicles is either on the 3DS, which it's a 3DS, so it can only be played on the new 3DS and it doesn't really look that good on a 3DS screen, and is the Wii U Virtual Console, which means there aren't that many people who can experience Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I bet you most Switch owners haven't even played Xenoblade Chronicles 1. They likely have played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So a lot of people who have played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are likely asking themselves, how does it stack up to that game? which is a sequel that was made afterwards, I'll tell you right now, I think you may end up getting something more out of this. I can't fully say, and that's the worst part. I'd love to be able to say, oh, you're going to enjoy this game more, but I can't, because it depends on who you are and what you expect from a game and what you take from narratives, how you perceive things, and that kind of thing can only be told by you. But I would say that if you enjoyed Xenoblade 2, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You would do yourself a disservice by not playing this definitive edition comes out. I'll tell you that right now. If Xenoblade Chronicles 2 wasn't really your thing, I would also still say give this one a chance. Mainly just because of what I've played in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm not too big of a fan of the gameplay specifically. I don't really like the gacha system personally. But overall, what I'm getting into the narrative, I'm starting to enjoy it. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is a game that I enjoyed immediately, and I preferred the specific kind of non-gacha system in that game. And it seems like, based off this trailer, that we're no longer having that in this game, and I'm grateful. I know the gacha system made more sense for Xenoblade Chronicles 2's narrative, and it wouldn't really make sense to do that in the narrative of this game. So the fact that they're even able to weave the gameplay and narrative like that really well is what I really love. But if you're a fan of Smash Bros. And you first introduced to Shulk that way, again, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't end up picking up this game in May. Again, I know the dates are subject to change, but as of right now, May is looking like to be a very important month to me. Not only, my brother's birthday and Last of Us Part 2, which I also think comes out the same day, but it's okay. I can have $120 by then. Probably more with this deluxe edition. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I know it was only like a 4-something minute thing, but I had to really explain why Xenoblade is so important to me. I just had to. It was something I really felt like I had to do. If I do, I might end up making this 2 videos. I might just cut the reaction up and then make my explanation of why this game is important to me into a whole separate video. That way, if you just want the the reaction, you can watch the reaction. If you want to watch, why this game is so important to me and why I was reacting the way I did, you can watch that video. So that's just it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and, hit that little like button for your boy and hit that subscribe button, as I can't wait to upload more about Xenoblade and, do that more on the analyst and everything and talk about it on this channel as well. Xenoblade's amazing. Play the game. I love you guys. You guys have a good one. I might, depending on what's in this direct, you might see more uploads, about this direct, but as of right now, I'm doing all these separately. So hope you guys enjoy the direct mini. Stay safe, quarantine yourselves, play some Animal Crossing as I have been, and you guys have yourselves a good night.